Hey guys, today we're nearing the end of The Witch's Road in episode 7 of Agatha All Along. Let's get into it.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Till the End of the Line podcast. I'm your boy Wanji here with
Kikati.
That's right, and as he said, we are headed back to the road, and we're getting close to the end.
Yeah, dude.
Sadly, but also excitingly.
Yeah.
It's getting really good.
It's getting crazy, bro.
This was a phenomenal episode, and we are going to dive into that, we promise. But first, as you all know, we got some nerd news for you all.
Oh, yeah.
All right, first bit of nerd news. I'm really excited about this. We are getting a John Wick prequel, but as an anime film.
Yeah.
This is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So this is basically, we're going to see what he had to do in order to retire. And that is going to be an exciting story to see.
I'm hoping
because it's not going to be an easy task.
No. I'm hoping it's like the style of... Do you ever watch the animated version of Chronicles of Riddick?
I never watched the actual anime of it, but I think I seen like clips of it.
That style, just like
it looks like it.
I don't want like Naruto. I want like the dark anime.
No, it looks like it. It doesn't look anything like the Naruto or Dragon Ball Z style. No, for sure. It
and
looks
as much
like
as I love those, they're just different. It just that style of anime fits.
It looks like the more adult,
or
anime.
like Demon Slayer, like kind of
exactly,
thing. Or even like it's totally offsetting, but it's like I don't for some reason the animation of Gundam Wing, just like the dark and dinginess of it, I really like.
Well, it makes sense. That's the world John Wick is in. You know what I mean? So it makes sense. But yeah, really excited for that, and stay tuned for more news on that. We are definitely going to be following that closely.
Absolutely. And as well as the ballerina when that comes out.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Can't wait for that.
Oh, yeah.
But in more upsetting news,
yes.
Marvel's Blade is delayed indefinitely.
Wow.
So Predator Badlands takes its release date.
Nice.
I'm okay with it.
Not bad.
I mean,
not a bad substitute.
No. But I think, and what I've seen people been reporting is they're shifting more towards the Midnight Suns, like how we had hoped they would, and I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, if you couldn't get everything like in line or in order for the actual Blade movie, then scrap it. Because like we've said, and many other people have said, if you're going to do Blade, you've got to do it right. Yeah, because we've already had a great Blade trilogy with Wesley Snipes. Like you can't. I enjoyed all three.
I didn't enjoy the third one.
No, I enjoyed it.
I mean, what made it tolerable was Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel. Their characters were pretty funny. When I was younger, I had a huge crush on Jessica Biel.
As we all did.
But I just didn't care for that iteration of Dracula.
Fair. And I would agree. Yeah, it was definitely a newer take on Dracula, one I've never even thought of. The villain didn't do it for me.
Yeah. You know? Like Deacon Frost in the first one, beast.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the like in between whatever they're like goblin vampire things that they were in the second one.
Yeah.
Dope. OP as fuck. Strong. Yes. Hard to kill.
Like, and great storyline for that character too. Yeah.
But then this one, it just didn't hit home for me.
It did fall a little short. It felt like they were trying to reinvent vampire, and it didn't land.
They were trying to tell an origin that nobody asked for of where the vampires came from.
Yes,
you know what I mean. And I was like, I don't care. Like
it's like they tried to make the Blade version of of Dracula. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like or Dracula on the Blade level.
Yeah,
to evenly match him or give Blade a really like bad guy that he has to compete with. You know what I mean? It's not just a simple.
The only thing I did like is how it ended, where he's like, oh, I'm never gonna be you, because he wanted Blade to like join his forces, and then he's like, oh, well, my bloodline will live on through you. Like he's the future of the vampires.
And then he gives them a gift, and he makes himself look like Blade, so that they all think that Blade's dead. The humans. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you on that. All right, so next bit of nerd news. Colleen Wing will appear in Daredevil Born Again as the new Iron Fist. I am fucking with that.
Yeah.
Language.
I loved her character in the Iron Fist series on Netflix. I think she did a great job. And I liked the character arc for her in that series. For sure, yeah.
I enjoyed her a lot. And honestly, so I saw this and I showed it to my daughter. I was like, hey, Soph, check this out. She's like, oh my God, I loved her. And for some reason, you know that like tiger bomber jacket that she used to wear? The white one?
Yes.
Sophie's like died for me to like I kept trying to find it. I never found one like that. She's like, oh, I love her jacket. I'm like, you remember that girl? You were so tiny.
Oh,
but she just loves there's certain characters
it's
that
a core memory probably for her. Yeah, for sure.
It was pretty cute.
Nice.
First looks at Nicolas Cage and Spider-Man Noir. Now we don't know if it's Nicolas Cage in the suit. You know what I mean? It could be a total actor, like a
stunt double. All right.
Yeah, but
I would imagine it is just because he's up there in age.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you he's at least in the outfit for like maybe the speaking parts. He's for sure in it. But anything.
Well, the speaking without the mask part.
Correct. That's what I mean. Like anytime he's not doing anything action based or anything acrobatic or anything like that, it's definitely him in that in that outfit.
I agree.
But I'm excited for that for sure. That looks like it's going to be really good. It's going to be. I think I'm excited for it because it's a new take on Spider-Man that we haven't seen before. It's more a more adult take on it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and stay tuned for that. We're definitely
essentially
gonna be on
the
that.
Dark Knight series of Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, for sure. But that is it for Nerd News today. But make sure you guys like and subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up with the latest in Nerd News.
Hey yo!
All right. So let's get into this episode.
Hell of an episode. So far, my favorite episode.
Okay.
I mean, the Billy episode, the one that ended with Billie Eilish, I think it was really good. It's up there with this one.
Yeah. First one. There we go. It's not an episode unless you yawn. I'm just going to put that out there. Yeah.
I don't know. We talked about it a little bit off screen. We were saying how we get to watch this episode in the eyes and in the way Lilia lives her life. Yeah. Every day since the day her powers manifest. So I'm guessing at 13. And then until the end of episode and how it ends. Yeah. I don't want to spoil too much, but.
Well, before we get into anything, I have to say, I mean, hats off to the director, the writers, the editor, cinematographer, everybody on this team, because this episode was shot beautifully. It was well told. It was well sequenced. You know what I mean? Like the camera angles we got, the even the subtle thing of us on the over the shoulder camera shot of her teacher, and then we get Agatha saying or not Agatha. We get Lilia saying something, and then it just slides over to the left side of her shoulder, and then she says something else. Just those subtle camera moves were fucking excellent. You know what I mean? It just added to the episode.
For me, when that happened, it's like a shift in perspective.
Yes,
so that's why the camera changes that way.
Yeah,
but it's just shifting in the perspective and in the dialogue that's happening. And
absolutely,
but there's no way they'd be able to do this without the amazing performance of the entire cast.
Absolutely,
this fucking team has wowed me. And you said it. You know, it's up there. It beats out WandaVision for you, and flirting with Loki.
It's right underneath Loki for me. I mean. And I was telling you that I think the reason that it's up there for me is because
it's so different.
It's a different, like, it's way different than everything else that we've seen from Marvel so far. So it's like it's a new avenue of Marvel, you know what I mean, and that we're getting, and they're telling it so fucking well.
Yeah. I mean, for some reason they seem to be doing really good with the supernatural. I mean, granted, Blade hasn't happened, obviously, but. You know, when Wanda was like the beginning of it with just like the magic witch powers. Yeah. But, you know, Werewolf by Night done fantastically. Yes. And then this one is done fantastically. So it gives me a lot of hope for Midnight Suns in the future. You know, and whatever else comes from there. It makes me more
optimistic?
Not optimistic, but like I don't think they're gonna drop the ball on when Mephisto finally comes.
Okay. I think Ironheart.
If it is in Ironheart, wherever he comes, I think it's gonna come the right way, and I'm excited for this because they're getting this because the way they tell the story, and I get what you're saying, it's up there and flirting with the Loki series, because even though the Loki series was really great, it was two people's story that they had to tell, and it was the first season was Loki and Sylvie, and then the second was very much so Victor Timely's story, and Loki assisting in that. So there's always two focal points. Was Sylvie and Mobius all part of it? And they
absolutely,
were, but they were very much so supporting characters. Versus here, every episode has been highlighted of a different person in the Coven, and
each one is holding their own.
Yes, yeah. So in their own respect, they're all stars of the show, even though it's called Agatha All Along. Like Billy's episode was great, Jen's episode was great. Like all of their trials have been, and obviously the trials are based on them, but it's not. There's enough flashback to tell the story, but we can find out who they are through this test of the trials. And I don't think I've ever seen anything do it that way.
Correct.
I really don't. So I don't. Same. I can't say I love it more than WandaVision because that one.
But Wanda also hits home to you in a different way,
right?
You know what I mean. So that makes sense that it wouldn't rank higher, right? And I totally get that.
No,
it makes perfect
this
sense.
Season finale can change all of that.
I doubt that highly. I don't. I see it more as like you would think that it was incredibly well done, but as far as it ranking, like the way it ranks for you, nothing's gonna beat WandaVision just because of how much it hit home to you, and you know what I mean. Like
as of right now, it's sitting on a 5 stones.
Wow. Okay. And
I told you I'm like it. I've tried to I can't find flaws.
Right.
Like I really can't.
Right.
And I'm not really trying to find flaws, but
you are looking out for them.
Right. Right. I'm not. Yeah. I'm usually the guy that's like, well, they could have done that better. Yeah. I like this, like the whole what we're talking about just about Blade, like the third movie, like I just didn't care for the villain. Yeah. And I usually can find something that I just don't care for. Will I enjoy it? Yeah. You know what I mean?
But you'll notice the flaws. Right.
And
right.
I really can't in this.
Same.
And it's the same feeling that I had with WandaVision. Because I have no idea what the fuck was going to happen every episode in WandaVision.
Right.
And in this one, I still don't know what the hell is going to happen.
Yeah.
So usually after the Billy episode, when he was revealed to be Billy and Billy Maximoff, Sandy's like, oh, so what does this mean? Da, da, da. And I was like, oh, and I just dig into it and some of the stuff we talk in our notes for the episodes. And I just nerd out, and she enjoys listening to all that stuff. And then this last episode, I was just like, she's like, so what do you think? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the.
I can tell you 8 different theories I have, but none of them
nothing was computing. For me, I was just like, what the fuck?
I might need to
reboot. Where's going on? What's going on? And even though the story that was told in this episode wasn't confusing, I just don't know where it's going to go from here. Yeah. I have no idea what this is.
I think that's one of the great things about the show is that it might be leading towards one way, but it can go a total different direction and still fucking play and still make sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's keeping everybody engaged and keeping everybody guessing. And it's one of the great. That's the great mark of a show is where it throughout the entire season, if it can keep you engaged and keep you guessing, you did your job. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, so let's dive right into this. I had to get that out there. I really wanted that known to be known. Yeah. So those remaining suffer the hand they are dealt in the next trial. Now, that's the synopsis for the show, and this show's titled Death's Hand in Mine.
Yeah.
Now, episode opens up on Lilia falling, dressed as the Good Witch.
The end of the recap ends with Lilia saying death comes for us all.
Oh, right.
So, spoiler alert, if you guys don't know, it's a hint to how the episode's going to end.
Correct.
And when I saw that in the beginning, I'm like,
your Peter tingle started tingling.
I'm like, bro, she dead.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
You had a
and I really like Lilia.
I love Lilia.
I love her character. I love her voice. She can sing her ass off. And
I am now a big Patti LuPone fan for sure.
Good.
And I think I'm gonna start looking into her other work, her other
musicals.
No, well, I'm saying her other projects that she's done.
Musicals.
Is she just mainly in musicals?
A lot of them.
But she's done films and TV, right?
I would imagine a couple, but nothing significant outside of Broadway.
But her resume is mostly plays?
Broadway.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. I mean, hey, I'm open to it. I'm open to checking her out in some plays. I will say that. So as I said, the episode opens up on Lilia falling, dressed as the Good Witch, in a void, just black background. We just see her in the Good Witch dress, just falling. And then it cuts to Wiccan and Agatha are walking down the road, and she's telling him, you get careful, you're gonna get a nosebleed trying to read my thoughts trying that hard to read my thoughts, right? And then she's like, she's just telling him, just ask your questions aloud. You don't have to try to read her mind. Like, she's basically going to be an open book with him, is what she's saying. So his first question is, where's Rio? And she goes, not that question. Yeah. Like, well, you told me ask any question. What the hell? You want to give me the rules, beforehand? Like, what the hell? So then she says, any other queries for your old babysitter? I love that. And she really seems to be emphasizing on the fact that they have a past.
Yeah.
And she's playing with that and toying with him, with that.
Well, the reason why is because, and even in the other episode, when she finally realizes that it's Billy, she's like, it's nice to see you again.
Right.
Because she's killed everybody she's ever had close to her.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only person that's alive still that she was semi-close to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that she cared for. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she genuinely did care for the
She most definitely did. She, like I said before, I think last episode, she was like a surrogate aunt. You know what I mean? Like, she cared for them. She was there for them. Well, she
calls herself, she's like, I'm your mom's old ex-best friend.
Yes. Yeah. And she really emphasized old, which I liked.
Because she's old as fuck.
Yeah. And, but yeah, I really like that exchange. To which Billy says, I'll get what I want at the end of the road, and she's not my mom. I have a mom.
That was tough.
That was tough, but what made me laugh was Agatha's reaction, like, ho, ho, ho. Like, okay, like, chill out, you know what I mean? That was really funny. But so his next question is Wanda Maximoff really dead? Which I'm so glad that the writers put this in.
Yeah.
Because this was 100% for all the fans. This was every fan that asked this question.
And this gave us nothing.
100%, but it's still out there.
Yeah. Marvel
still did it to at least tease that with everybody. So, like, we know you guys are asking this question. Here's what we can give you right now. So yeah, and then Agatha says yes, and she says that right away. And then she smiles and says no. She goes, well, maybe.
Yeah.
And then Billy asks, did you see a body? Yeah, did you see a body? Agatha says, I did. And then Billy asks,
did anybody else?
Yeah, and then she goes, well, it's hard to say. And then says, hey, you want straight answers? Ask a straight lady. I was just like fucking loving it. Because that whole... And that just speaks to Agatha's not quirkiness, but like her smart assness. You know what I mean? Like, and I just love that she never lets up on that.
No.
And I love it. And Catherine Hahn, I feel, is the perfect person to do that.
Yeah. So this is when Billy goes, because Agatha goes, well, in my experience. And then
he cuts her off.
Yeah, he's like, in your experience, he's like, I honestly believed your experience would be the key to our success down here. Mm-hmm. She's like, we're alive, success.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I even wonder if you've ever been on the road at all.
Ooh.
So some people are theorizing that this is not.
Now what?
So the road appears like this might very much so be. Because everything on this road
tailors to the witches that are on it. Is that what you mean?
But everything on this road was in Billy's room.
Okay. So you think he's the one that the road is tailoring?
Are they on the road? To? You think they're actually on the road?
Yeah.
You think, or do you think he doesn't realize he's doing some?
You think it's Billy's hex that they're in?
Yeah, I don't realize it.
No.
No?
I don't think that at all. If that's the case, that's a total fucking... That's a M. Night Shyamalan shit. You know what I mean?
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't think that is. Because if it was his hex, I don't think Alice would have died. I don't think he would have let Alice die. Or she would have died, but she would have been brought right back. You get what I'm saying? Because he even says that he didn't know he had those abilities and that power and stuff. That we'll get to that later, but you know what I mean? But yeah, I 100% don't think it is. I think it's the witch's role. I just didn't. I think what Agatha went through maybe the first time wasn't as dire as this time. You know what I mean?
Do you think she's lying about the road?
And what do you mean?
About having completed it the first time?
No. I think she did. Like I said, I just don't think it was as dire as this time. Because she was doing it. She hadn't experienced it, so she didn't. The first time, she had no idea what to expect. Now she does, so that's why she's taking it. She's like, oh, I've been through this already. So she's not trying to complete the road as bad as the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how I see it.
I almost feel like she kind of is, though.
Yeah, because she wants her power back.
Yeah.
But the first time, she was doing it for her life. You know what I mean? She was doing it to keep living. To survive the road. Now she's doing it for her powers, which is a different motivation.
We also don't know why she did the road the first time.
Right. So maybe
it's interesting to see if in these next coming episodes, we see flashbacks of her like during the Renaissance area having. There's another witch, a couple witches that are attacking her. She's absorbing their powers. I wonder if that was her other coven that she went down the witch's road with.
Maybe, yeah.
But I'm just curious, like what did she want on the witch's road? Because I don't think it was the Darkhold, because she gave up Nicholas for the Darkhold.
Mm-hmm.
So what did she want?
Immortality, maybe? Or
I mean, all witches are.
Oh yeah, they don't. No, yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out what that first trial or that first trip down the road was for.
Yeah. Well, then right after that, they have that conversation. They walk up in this huge fucking castle, and Billy's like, "Well, that's new."
Yeah.
Or that's different. That's what he says. Yeah. And you had mentioned that the moon phases.
Yeah. So as they approach the door on the ground, you see that the moon is 3/4 of the way full. So that's kind of symbolizing that they're nearing the end of the road.
Yeah.
They're getting close to it. So they enter, and then as they walk in the door, of course, just like every other child, their wardrobe changes. Agatha is the Green Witch from the Wizard of Oz, and Billy is Maleficent.
Not the Green Witch. She's the Wicked Witch.
Did I say the Green Witch?
Yeah.
Sorry. She's the Wicked Witch from Wizard of Oz, and Billy is Maleficent. And I just got to say, Billy's fucking killing it in this Maleficent. He looks fantastic. Yeah. I'm like, I mean, slay it, Joe Locke. You know what I mean? Like, damn. He does it. He looks better in that Maleficent costume than a lot of women that try to wear that costume. Are. But yeah, and Agatha too. She looked phenomenal. I was like, man, she could have played the real Wicked Witch and pulled it off.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think the costume was a little different.
Okay.
Because
different how? I think they just tailored it to her body type. Usually the Wicked Witch is I think like a little taller.
It's just but she just wears a black hat and a black gown. There's no like floofiness to the hat.
Right.
There's no buckle on the hat.
But no, I'm talking about the way like
the makeup and the makeup nose and the prosthetics.
Yeah, the way that looks
cool.
on her.
That looked really cool on her.
That's what I mean by that. The way the prosthetics look on her.
Yeah, she had like this whole collar situation happening, and I don't think that's how it was in the Wizard of Oz.
Well, I mean, I think even in Wicked it looks different.
No,
I think there's just
black.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. There's no collar and thing in that. I think
that's
it's just different.
Only Agatha's the only one that has a collar. Otherwise, in Wizard of Oz and in Wicked, she just wears a plain black gown. It's very. I mean, she has like the.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the Wicked Witch's wardrobe had a collar on it.
No, Agatha's has the collar.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So Agatha's getup is totally different from. But we know she's supposed to be the Wicked Witch.
Well, she even says, she goes, the first thing Agatha says is, she's based off of me. And then, without missing a beat, Billy's like, prove it. You know what I mean? Just like fucking put your money where your mouth is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm loving their dynamic and just their back and forth.
Yeah,
it's awesome. So then Agatha then says, you seem pleased with your look. And then Billy says, well, if the cheekbones fit. Yeah, I was like, yes, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Just shutting her up. And then they realize that the trio is tarot. Mm-hmm. And Billy, because Agatha looks at the table and is like, this look, or what'd she say? This looks important, or is this important?
Yeah.
Something like that. And then that's when he realized it's tarot. But yeah, so, and then he's like, well, I guess, I'll read for you. And then, because he says that he was studying that, or he knows a bit about it.
Yeah.
So then Billy gets the cards, and, she shuffles and cuts the deck. And then Billy struggles reading the first card.
Calls it the Chariot.
Or he calls it, he goes to call it something, and then she says, the Chariot. She goes, it's written right there on the card.
Oh, yeah.
And then he goes, and then he makes up and he's like,
I think this really like a horse and carriage or something like that.
Yeah, that's what he was saying, yeah. And then he's like, well, this has really come up for me a lot, and then as he places it in the slot on the table, as soon as he does, a sword drops and just impales the ground, like simultaneously. It was like, and then they freak out and they're like, what the yeah, and then they notice the just hundreds of swords hanging from the ceiling.
And they almost look magnetized a little bit, like from the handle.
Yeah,
and
a little bit.
It's like, all right, if we don't play this right, we're gonna fucking die.
Yes.
And then Agatha steals the deck because I think a second sword falls and he's just not getting it. So she's like, she said that this whole thing is a con in reading cards, and she starts placing the cards down and swords just keep fucking
she's just
falling.
Pulling a card, slamming it as if it's like, she's just trying to get rid of the deck.
Yeah, and her plan is like looking at it like a numbers game. It's a race to play the right cards or until all the swords run out and fall. And I think Billy's like, I don't think they had math back in.
No, he goes, I don't know. He goes, I don't know how the math worked back in Salem, or he goes, but that's not how this works. Yeah. So she's doing that, and then they all just start falling, and she thinks that like by getting rid of them, her thought process is like, oh, we're just gonna have all the swords fall. That way we don't have to worry about that. She's like, we still have plenty of time. Yeah. He's like, no, that's not how this works. So then
I think he says that I wish that. No, not yet. He doesn't.
Okay.
So then it flips over to Lilia, and Lilia seems to be like slipping in and out more and more. Lilia's visions and her outbursts.
What?
Oh yeah, so it turns out all of her visions and outbursts that we've seen throughout the other trials are directly tied to this trial. Or
which is what we theorized.
We've all everyone's been on that. Like, okay, it has to be. So like all of them, everything completes a full sentence saying like, "I love you guys," or Alice, don't try to save Agatha.
This is the only thing that we didn't get right was that was all a complete sentence. We thought it was just from different moments in her trial. Remember we said that?
That's what you said.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
But it turns out it's all just from one complete sentence. She just kept bouncing during each trial.
Well, with the exception of the Alice, don't try to save Agatha, that was its own thing.
Right. It's like she was speaking in, it was like two parts of a sentence. Right. Yeah. Or two different sentences. Yeah.
But all the other premonitions all directly relate to this trial, with the exception of those two from episode 3 and 4.
Right, because she was seeing what was happening and then reacting to that, and that's what that was. Yeah.
But the whole am I kooky or am I ditzy?
No. Am I? Oh God, it's gonna bug me now. Babe, can you look that up? What she when she's talking to Alice, what does she say? Which is it? Am I blank or am I kooky? I forgot what it was.
Yeah. But either way, yeah. So
episode 5, right? Alice's trial?
Yeah, I think so. If I can't reach you, let my song teach you.
Yeah, it was in that one. It was in episode 5. All right, but go ahead. We'll find out.
So yeah, but all of her premonitions directly tied to this episode, with the exception of those only two. Alice, don't try to save Agatha.
Right. And I gotta say, I absolutely loved the reveal of why Lilia was saying what she was saying, and I loved the way it was done. It was done. We followed that sentence completely, and we followed it, and we were following it as Lilia was experiencing it. And I think the way it was shot, the way it was edited, it was perfectly done. So well done.
I agree.
Yeah. That was probably my favorite scene, actually, of the episode.
Okay.
That part. It was just so fucking well done. And I think that because I'm an editor as well, so like I think because of that, it's another Loki situation of when he was transforming into the God of Stories. That situation. I think it's another one of those.
Well, I feel that.
Yeah,
I feel
that. Okay, but go ahead.
So then he goes. She sees her teacher and she asks her. She's like, "What do you see?" And she's like,
Oh, so this is where she gets to her teacher, right? But her teacher spots it right away. She goes, "Oh, you're returning for a visit, or this is a visit." Yeah. So she realizes that it's older Lilia, not the young Lilia coming to her first lesson.
Right.
So her teacher can spot when it's Lilia.
Yeah.
Like when in time it is that Lilia.
Well. Yeah, I get
what I'm saying. Okay,
but at the same time, they this is where Lilia preaches to Jen. She's like, the flow of time is an illusion. She's like, and just most people don't realize that.
Yeah.
So she's experienced. It explains that her entire life, and the reason why she doesn't have her divination powers, and it's because she chose not to.
Yeah.
She chose not to use them. It's because she was experiencing life with too many gaps inside of it, and I think it was really hurting herself. Like, she was able to predict like the death of her entire coven, who the people that were teaching her how to use her powers, and she couldn't do anything about it.
Well, she saw it coming and she warned them, and it still happened. So yes. I think that just gave her too much like emotional turmoil.
Yeah.
To where she's like, well, what's the point in using my powers if I see it, I warn them, and it still happens?
Yeah.
Like I can't do anything about it. I can't change anything. So she's like, well, then I'm just going to ignore it. Right. And I'm not going to deal with it. Yeah.
And she was okay with being covenless. She was okay with like not having to use her power for any other reason at all. And then she would just use the small, mediocre power just to do the readings. And
she even said like she was cool. She was okay with being the generic tarot reader. I forget how she phrased it, but she was cool. How did she put it? The phony tarot reader or something like that? Or I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Then after that, so again, one of the reasons why I love this, and I've said this before, is this episode is jumping around a lot, but it doesn't lose us in the story.
Correct. And we do not get lost in it. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is, it's making more and more sense for us as we go through the episode, as it's making more and more sense for Lilia. On top of that, so after she talks about how she's experiencing gaps and missing in her memory, and that's why. And then when she's talking to Jen about like the flow of time and stuff like that, it just automatically jumps to the trial. Now all of them are there.
Yeah.
And it snacks back to the 4.
Isn't it? Doesn't it? Or isn't the first thing Agatha on top of her?
Yes.
Okay.
So when she snaps back, there's only 4 of the remaining witches alive.
Correct.
Still there. So death, Rio at this point is nowhere to be found. And then. So Lilia's like, Agatha, what are you doing? And Agatha's like, didn't you see the immediate impalement in your future? Imminent impalement in your future?
Literally just poking fun of her powers. Yeah.
She's like, how did you not fucking see this? I saved your life. And then then it turns to Teen looking at Lilia, and she's like, I thought we were cool. She's like, we are not cool, teenager. She's like, damn, using the full name.
Yeah. And then Jen is like... I fucking love that. Jen immediately is like, damn, using his full name. I love that joke. That is so fucking funny. Because teen is literally not his name.
Yeah.
But the full word of that
teenager
is teenager. So it's, oh my God. That was funny.
It was really funny.
That was one of the funnier parts of the episode for me. Yeah.
So then Teen, excuse me.
Oh, again.
Here we go again.
So yeah. So after that happens,
Teen gets cornered in the room by Lilia, and Teen starts reading her mind, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry."
Sorry, really quick. I don't. Sorry to interrupt you, but it's am I wispy or am I kooky? That's what it was.
Am I wispy or am I kooky?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, producer. Appreciate that. That was bugging the hell out of me. Okay.
I know it's somewhere in my nose, but I just couldn't find it right now.
Yeah. Okay. So wispy or kooky. Okay.
So then he starts like just spitting out answers, and Lilia's like, what the fuck is going on?
Without Lilia saying a word, he just keeps answering questions.
He's like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have lashed out at you like that. You didn't deserve to. I wasn't hiding my power from you. And like he's having a full on conversation with her thoughts.
And then she's just looking at him and she's like,
I didn't know. Well, I'm gonna finish reading what he said first. He's like, I wasn't hiding my power from you. I didn't know that I could. I'm not lying to you. It was a surprise to me too. And had I known, I would have. Yes, of course, I would have used it to save Alice.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Are you reading my mind?" He's like, "Only because it's so loud. No offense."
Yeah.
And it's because earlier in the episode he was trying to read Agatha's. Well, no, Agatha says, "Don't try to read. You're gonna hurt yourself."
I honestly don't think he was trying to read her thoughts at that moment.
So she can tell. I think she was. I think he was.
Okay.
Because
he was trying to do it subtly or what?
Yeah. Okay. In WandaVision, when they go to Wanda's or into the twins go into Agatha's house, which is Ralph Boner's house or whatever. But she has the runes there, so no power is gonna be used in there. Mm-hmm. He's like, I like it here. It's quiet.
Oh right.
And he looks at her. He goes, "You're quiet." Mm-hmm. So I think she has some type of ability to. The way Wong was like, fortify your mind. Yeah. So she, I don't know.
Wong or Arnold Schwarzenegger, because that was very. I could not tell the difference. We know you have a spot on Schwarzenegger now. Okay.
You've never heard my Schwarzenegger?
Not to that effect. Like I've heard, like just you say.
When
quick
I first
words.
started dating Sandy, she would make me do it all the time. Like I was her show monkey in front of the family.
Yeah. That was your one trick pony. You were a one trick pony with that.
I love it. And I got so embarrassed after a while. I was like, "Babe, stop it."
Yeah. It's the equivalent to like a parent finding out their kid can dance, so that every event is like dance for them, dance. But yeah, so yeah. Do you think it has a connection with like that her power is that she takes people's power? So do you think it has like it's connected to that?
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like because her power says that she absorbs people's power, that she can kind of absorb his and then use it to block or something like that.
No, I think that she just has the ability to like nullify.
Or do you think that's a spell she learned? Kind of like Magneto's helmet. I see it more as that. I see it more as she learned a spell.
Something like a sigil.
Yes.
Like some type of spell of that caliber where she used it
to protect her mind.
Maybe that's why she always has her brooch. Mm-hmm. And whoever's hair is in that brooch is what's protecting her.
Yeah.
You know, because we still don't know whose hair that is.
I can follow that.
It could be Nicholas. It could be Rio. It could be somebody that something that allows her to keep her mind.
Her mind.
Yeah, her mind from being to fortify her mind.
Oh God. Yeah, I can definitely follow that. I like that. That makes more sense than anything else I can come up with. Yeah. But, all right. So after that, what happens? Where are we at?
Let's see the outfits.
Oh, she remembers who Billy is now.
Oh yeah, that's right. She does. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she's like,
I remember you now.
Yeah.
She's like, at your bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
And then she starts talking about
she admits and then he asks about the sigil.
She goes, "Did you put the sigil on me?" And she goes, "I saw what was going to happen to you that night and what you would become."
Yeah, and given the tough situations he was about to deal with, she thought he needed more time to be able to adjust.
And that was the real reason she put the sigil on him.
Right.
Was to give him more time and to, I guess, ease him into Billy now taking over William Kaplan's body. So she wanted to give him as much time as he needed to process that and deal with that.
Yeah.
Which it's sweet. You know what I mean? She was looking out for him.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Okay.
She also says, she's like, wait, what am I wearing?
Oh, she's talking to Jen when she like snaps into it.
Yeah.
And then she's like, what? She goes, oh, this is so demeaning. She goes, hey, step out of it. She goes, we could be culturally offended later. Like, I fucking love that. Jen's lines in this episode are fucking top notch.
Agreed.
They're so good. They're so good.
And it's fitting that like the one witch that thinks like she hates so much of the stereotypical bullshit that witches, the bad rep that witches get, that all of them are dressed like all the most iconic stereotypical witches that
yeah.
So I thought that was funny.
Yeah, same.
Oh, so then it flips back to Lilia and Jen back on the road. It leaves them from the trial. So this is like back in the past, essentially. And Lilia's walking and she sees the teen's spell book on the floor.
That he lost,
Picks it up, puts it in his pocket, kind of walks off.
Which he lost back in episode 4 or 5?
Whenever they're on the broom.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Whenever they're...
Right, because he realized it once they went into the next trial. He's like, wait, yeah, that was episode 4.
I think you're right.
It was the one where they were in the one where Alice dies.
It was the one when Alice dies.
Yeah, that was episode 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Because then 6 was Billy's episode and 7 is this one.
Yeah.
Okay, fair point. So that happens.
She finds the book, and
Jen
and then she finds it,
and she hides it and like slips it into her coat.
She slips it into her coat real fast.
Yeah,
and she even hides it from Jen that she found it.
Yeah.
So
and then she tells Jen, she's like, we got to find this bookshelf. That's what's gonna lead us to Tina and Agatha. And then they have a banter back and forth, and that's when Lilia's like, no, Jen's like, well, we got to find them, and then she's like, she's like, yeah, we gotta find Teen. You mean Billy, the son of the Scarlet Witch? She's like, how do you know? She's like, you told me. So,
and we hadn't seen this conversation yet.
No, we hadn't.
Right.
And so she's like, and that's when she goes, are you? That's when she asked the question, are you? What's it called? The spooky or kooky or?
Are you wispy or are you kooky?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is where she asked that question, and then it flips back to her reading tarot cards. So like, if as you guys are listening to this and following this, it might be some confusion, because we're explaining it as we're watching it. But if you're watching this episode, guys, like it gives you. It's hard to get lost in it. Like,
it's way easier to follow in the episode, for sure.
Agreed.
Because not only because of the visualizations of it, but it's the way it's done. It it's a lot of bouncing back and forward, but it's cohesive and it's smooth.
So scaringly smooth. Yeah. I don't know how they did this.
I can tell you,
it's a masterpiece for sure.
Phenomenal writing, phenomenal editing, phenomenal directing. Everything, every person that had to deal with this episode, they were on their A game for sure. Yeah. But all right, go
ahead. So from there, she kind of tells Jen that she's like, all you see is this person. Da, da, da. She's like, but that's not who I am. And then Jen goes like, who? Well, then who are you?
Yeah.
She's like, no, seriously, like who are you?
Like, tell me who you are.
Tell me who you really are.
Tell me how I should see you.
Oh yeah, tell me how I should see you. And then she kind of explains that the reason she doesn't have her powers is because she started to ignore them, because all she kept seeing was her death. And she just didn't want to basically know when it was coming.
Well, I think it's because she said she kept having too many gaps in between, like, her visions, and then she wanted it to go away, so she just started ignoring it.
She did, but then she kept saying, she told Jen directly that, she ignored her powers because all she's seen was death.
Right, all she seen was death. Sorry, not her death, but death itself.
Yeah, but hers included.
That's what it was. I mean? That's what it was. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, because I remember it being more than just her death is the reason that she stopped. Yeah. That she started ignoring.
She's seeing everybody's, and she can't do shit about it.
Right. Okay. Go ahead.
And I mean, that could take a toll. Imagine seeing all your loved ones or anyone you get close to, and you can see their death.
Absolutely.
And you can't do anything about it. It's
or you try to do something about it, but nothing comes
changes.
of it. Yeah.
And that ties more back into when she has her conversation with her teacher. She's like, that's the one thing we all have in common is death comes for all of us.
Comes for us all. Yep.
And so then it flips back into the freaking trial again. All 4 witches are there again, and she's like, who's the querent? And then Billy's like, you mean the subject? He's like, I guess I'm the querent.
Yeah, I love that.
His little puns and little funny, like corking.
Well, his little like emphasis on the fact that he is queer and stuff like that, like all the little jokes to it, like he really makes sure they don't forget who he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I love it. I'm with it.
Yeah, because he's proud of his sexuality, as he should be,
right.
As we all should be. You know what I mean? But yeah, I like those little jokes to be like.
Yeah, I mean, even Agatha dropped a couple of them. She's like, if you're looking for a straight answer, ask.
That had total double meaning. Yeah, for sure.
So funny.
So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, no, I was just going to say, so then he sits down to get a reading from Lilia.
Lilia, right.
Because she thinks that's why she's there, is to do the tarot card readings. So go ahead. And then, what? Okay.
The question must be, so she's like.
She starts explaining what's going to happen.
What's going to happen. And she's like, he must ask a question that is vital to his journey on Earth. And Jen and Agatha are asking, like, well, ask how we're gonna get out of here.
Yeah.
How do we
get out of here?
Yeah. How do you get out of this trial? And then she repeats again. She's like, it must be vital to his journey. She's like, it seems pretty fucking vital.
Yeah. Well, first she's like, well, the question must come from Billy, and then that's when Agatha's like, well, ask her how we get out of here. And then she goes. And then she emphasizes, it has to be vital to his journey on Earth. She goes, I think it's pretty fucking vital because we have to get out of here. But yeah, so then she yells out
that proper tarot takes time and care, and leads to a large gaping wounds.
Well, Lilia just says proper tarot takes time and care, and then Agatha responds with and leads to large gaping wounds, which is just a result sometimes of the tarot card reading.
Well, I think it was a direct result because of the swords.
Oh yeah, that was 100% what she was talking about. Yeah, but that again has a double meaning. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And then Billy screams, or Teen screams, "Am I William or am I Billy?"
And then everything stops.
Everything stops.
The swords stop coming down. Oh, we never even mentioned the swords are fucking moving down slowly.
It's
a very Star Wars walls are closing in scene. But yeah, it's the same thing. Like
that was due to Agatha quickly placing these cards and dropping them all. And then,
that was in response to her thinking that they had a lot of time, and they're like, "Nah, this shit ain't. You don't got a lot of time. As much time as you think." Yeah. So then that stops everything, and then she goes.
And this is when Lilia explains, like, this is called the safe passage.
Yeah.
You want to break down those safe passage?
Yeah. So, first she says that's what did she say? That's a great question, or that's when
so, yeah.
When he asked that, she goes. Well, that's a great question, or something like that. So yeah, so the type of tarot that she's going to be reading is called the Safe Passage spread.
Yeah.
And the way it's spread out is the first card is going to be the Traveler. It's in the middle. So the middle card is one card horizontal and one card vertical.
Mm-hmm.
The first card is going to be horizontal, right? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not on its side?
The first card, no.
Okay, so the first card is upright. Okay, so that makes sense. So the first card is the Traveler. And the card that flips over is the Magician. And she says, you're the Magician. You have, what is it, limitless potential? Or what's the word?
Yeah. The Magician has limitless potential and the ability to turn all of its own goals into reality.
It's not unlimited potential?
I think, yeah, unlimited potential.
Okay. And the ability to turn goals into reality.
Mind you, I thought they were on the right track because it's set up like a pentagram.
Yeah.
So, which is Wiccan's powers when he releases his like aura situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's this blue star.
Mm-hmm.
So, all 5 points of the star, and then the center of it is
right.
So I thought they were on the right track.
Yeah.
Obviously, turns
out. Yeah, they were definitely like leading us to believe that that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then so the second card is what's missing, and the card that turns over is the Sun reunion.
Yeah.
And then
the sun.
Sorry.
Yeah, and it means reunion.
And when she says that, Billy goes, reunion? And like he perks up at that.
Yeah.
Because that's why he's on this road, is to reunite with his brother Billy. Yeah. Or Tommy.
Yeah.
And then the third card is the path behind.
Right.
And
but they don't pull that card because that's when things start falling, kind of fucking up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then she like flips out and she goes back to her. She goes back to talking to her her teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "What am I missing?"
Oh, right.
So like it cuts off, swords start falling, and then Lilia flips back to having that conversation with her teacher, and she's like, "What am I missing?" She's like, "I don't know. What are you missing?" And then she's like, "I'm a forgotten woman." She's like, "I seen death for everyone." She's like, "Well, that's when she's like, that's what we all have in common.
Mm-hmm.
You know, death comes for all of us."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Huh, I was falling.
Yeah.
I will fall." And then she realizes like this is her time to accept that she's gonna pass.
Yeah. Definitely her like coming to Jesus moment for sure.
And then it flips back to her underneath the trial with Jen again.
Mm-hmm. And like the tunnels underneath.
Yeah. And then we see she's like, hey, this is when she's like, I'm back, and and she starts talking to Jen and telling Jen that, just remember what I'm about to tell you because I'm gonna not remember this very soon.
Oh, right. Yeah. And
so
this is where we see that conversation that she was talking about earlier.
Right.
Now we get to see the conversation.
Things are starting to fill in now.
Yeah.
And then there's like this subway station. She's like, we need to figure out how to get to the road, and then that's when Jen's like, well, which way do we go? And then she looks, and to the right, it's a subway station. And then to the left, it's
more tunnels.
More tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, for the life of me, I still don't know what the hell the subway meant. Well, is it an exit?
Yeah.
From the road?
Mm-hmm. It's a way to get off the road.
Why subway?
Yeah, why?
Because think about it. Subways are underground, and they're a way to get out from underground.
Because they're underground.
You take the subway out, and then you end up, you take it out of the underground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just symbolizing a way out. That's just, I don't think there's more.
Because at first when I saw the metal, I was like, oh, is that the part of the trial? Is that a way to jump through to the next trial? I thought it was the room that Agatha and Tina are in when like the purple light's spinning. But I was like, no, it's not. Never mind.
That like padded room style thing? Okay.
Well, it is a morgue. Because,
oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Because there's a spot where Agatha's like, there's like tiles on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
When you hit it looks like if you push the tile, it slides out, and there's like a bed in there, for like a dead body.
The tray, okay,
like the cooler situation or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the slab that they put dead bodies on.
Yeah, and I thought that's what that was at first, and I was like, oh, it's a train station.
Yeah.
And that's when Jen's like, is that the way out?
Yeah.
Off the Witch's Road.
Yeah. And oh my God, I loved what Lilia said at this point.
Oh yeah.
Where do you have it? because she goes, yes, that's the way out. She goes, but I'm going to Tina and Agatha. She goes, and I want you to come with me. She goes, because you're my sister in the craft.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Jen's
how do
like,
you say no to that?
Jen's like, I can't fucking say no to this now.
Yeah. So, but and I mean, Jen's looking and she's thinking about it, and she's like, you could see on her face that she's like realizing. She goes, you know, you're right. I am your sister in the craft. It's time for me to accept that and stop. I think it's more because she had her powers taken from her and she can't use them. That's probably why she tried distancing herself from witchcraft and stuff like that. So I think now she's coming to a realization that that's not what makes her the witch. Witch. So she's more embracing it now. That's the way I took it.
Yeah.
And then,
I agree.
Yeah, and then sure enough, she follows her.
Yeah. And then they kind of hide a little bit at first though, because
they hear the 7 coming.
Yeah.
They're
like walking backwards and
they look weird. Really weird. At first, I didn't even realize that they were walking backwards until my wife pointed it out.
Right.
And they're walking backwards, and I'm like, I wonder what the significance of that is.
I don't know. I think it's just to make them creepy.
You think so?
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that. Fair enough. So then what? So then they go, and then it goes back into
It goes back to them, the part where they actually arrive again.
Oh, where they fall through. They get to the bookshelf. They get to where the bookshelf is.
Right.
And then they're like, the bookshelf. Then they hear them.
Yeah.
And then
when they come through, they're in full get up in the new, like the witches.
She's Gwendola, the good witch.
Yeah.
And then Jen is the witch from Snow White, the one that gives her the poisonous apple. And she looks great too. She looks really, really good.
Spooky and good. Yeah. It was good.
Shout out to the costume department and props department. They did a phenomenal job with these costumes and everything.
I agree. And I wonder how they got away with Wicked, because not Wicked, but the Wicked Witch and Glendola aren't Disney, right? Wizard of Oz isn't Disney.
Is it not?
I don't think so.
I know that. Well, those are on Disney Plus. I know that those movies and stuff are on there, so they have some rights to it.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
pretty sure they are. Yeah.
I don't think it is.
Babe, can you look that up for us? If the Wizard of Oz or any of those properties are on Disney Plus, I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway,
if Wizard of Oz or Wicked are owned by Disney,
if they're on Disney Plus, because if they're on Disney Plus, that means they have some rights to it. Probably. They bought some rights to it. Anyway, so it gets back. So we get back to her reading the tarot, right?
Yeah.
And then, so after the path behind, which is wounds suffered, lessons learned. It's the night.
Okay. So you.
Oh no, sorry. I'm sorry.
Now this is a whole new reading now.
Sorry.
So there's a whole new reading for
right
for Lilia.
Because Lilia realizes that it's not Billy she needs to be reading for, it's herself.
Correct.
She has to read her own cards. Correct. So then she sits down, shuffles the deck, cuts it. What's up?
None of those are on Disney.
They're not on Disney, but I could have sworn I saw them on there. They have to own some rights to it. Especially in order for them to have this in their episode, they have to have bought some kind of rights to it.
Do you think that's why the costume's different?
No, because she says they never actually say the Wicked Witch, do they?
No.
So maybe they're getting away with
because Maleficent
likeliness.
Yeah, I think it's
using likeliness and not the actual.
It's only on Max and Hulu.
Oh, I must have seen it on Hulu then, or Max. No, I think it was Max. I saw it on.
If it's on Hulu, Disney owned Hulu, but it was probably streaming already on Hulu before.
And that's how they were able to use it. I think is through that.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They have to own some kind of rights.
Hulu, but
right, and anything on Hulu, they have the rights to
stream, but not rights to remake it or
they're not remaking it. They're just using a character from that. They have. I don't think they have some kind of right. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they don't. I'm pretty sure that's why the costume is different. Because even Glendola's is different. She doesn't have her wand. She doesn't the big goofy hat.
That's just semantics.
She floats in on a bubble. You know what I mean?
Right, but you can't do all that in this setting. You know, I don't know. They were able to do it somehow. I'm sure. Like I said, I'm sure they have some type of rights to it. Anyway.
We'll see. Somebody will break it down and we'll get the information from it.
So, so then she proceeds to read her own cards.
Right.
She sits down, shuffles the deck, cuts it, and then the first card is the Traveler.
Right. And she pulls
the Queen of Cups. and that is Lilia.
card.
That's her.
And it literally is the young version of her on the card.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And what I love those shots too is every card we see the live shot of it, and then we see the shot of it as a card.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love those shots.
And every card has
cool.
a witch that's on the road.
Yeah, and it's so fucking cool the way they did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next card is what's missing, and the reason for what's missing, and it's the reason for the quest, and it's the 3 of Pentacles, and we cut back to the list that she wrote all the witches' names on, and it says 3-star rentals, which is 3 of Pentacles. It's that.
Did you know that Jack Schaefer confirmed that the heart,
the black heart on the list,
is
Rio?
No, Billy.
It is. See, I told you.
Yeah,
I knew it.
Rio is the one that's the traveler that's not supposed to be on the road.
Yeah, because of the way she entered the road was kind of like backdoorish.
They summoned her.
Yeah, she kind of snuck in because Mrs. Hart died.
Yeah,
so that was her way to sneak into the road. That I told you. I knew there was.
Well, it looked like it, but he said that the text that Eddie sent was the confirming point.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I know that the reason of that black heart text had to have some significance. They wouldn't have done that just because.
I agree.
I felt like it had to have some significance. I'm so glad.
At that point, it was too much of. I was leaning too deep into it. It was Rio.
Mm-hmm.
But now that she's confirmed to be Mistress Death or Lady Death, Mistress Death, all the names she has, I just think it makes sense that, and then that's why maybe we're seeing so much of what's in Billy's room.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, that's why I said, like, whose trial is this? Who's the leader of this coven?
Yeah.
Is it really Agatha, or is she just the most knowledgeable? But is it really Billy?
I could be. I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
That would make sense. Yeah.
So that's where that idea.
He is technically the reason that they're all there. He's the one who started it.
Yeah.
Who
and he's the one that he's met every single one of them prior to the coven.
As William.
Prior to the coven being formed.
Mm-hmm. Before they knew, they themselves knew they were witches, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. So then the next card is the Path Behind, which is Wounds Suffered, Lessons Learned. And it's the Knight of Wands.
Yes.
And then we see that
with Agatha.
We see that cut back to when Billy was unconscious and Agatha was after her, like at his head and stuff like that. And what they did a really cool was they had tree branches looking like the swords behind Agatha. That was really cool. Really well done. The next one is the Path Ahead, which is a space for growth and discovery. And it's the High Priestess.
Which is Jen. And
then I love that where she goes like that, and then it just changes into the card, and that's exactly how the card looks with even the background behind it. I fucking loved it. I'm telling you, it was really fucking well done. Then the fifth one is Obstacles, and it's the 3 of Swords.
Yeah. And she says that. When did she say 3 of Swords?
With Alice?
Alice, you're right. Yeah, Alice.
And then 6th one is Potential Windfalls, and it's the Tower Reversed.
And that's teen.
And then, so that's the last card, and then the last card is the Destination, and she flips it over.
And it says
it says that, but do we cut to?
No, it cuts to Rio.
Right after she flips it, right?
It cuts to when they first fall through the road. Mm-hmm. And Rio's coming down the tunnel.
And Lilia's waking up, and then she sees, she goes, "Who is that?" Yeah, and she's like, "Who is that?" And then Rio's like, "You don't recognize me?" And then what does she say? All roads lead to me.
Yeah.
And then
that's when Lilia's like, Rio is death.
And then we see Rio come forth, dagger in her right hand, rock with a flower wrapped around the rock in her left hand, and then what's on? Is she wearing a crown?
Yeah.
So she has a crown, and then what's going on here?
So usually she's like just this cloaked female.
Okay.
With the skull face.
Oh, okay. So the mouth was kind of skull.
Yeah, it was only from like the nose down. So essentially, think of like
Like how masks look
Scorpion.
on us. Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's a
and
good
like
one.
he has the mask that covers it like that.
Uh-huh.
Or like Melina from
Mhm.
Mortal Kombat,
Mhm.
where she looks like a big open mouth, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what was happening. It was just the eyeballs that showed skin and that's pretty
Flesh,
much it.
yeah.
And flesh, yeah, exactly, flesh.
So it's basically skull from the nose down.
Yeah.
And it looked really good. It looked.
Yeah.
I like the way they did that.
But you can see skin on like her stomach region, so like she wasn't full skeleton just
right.
Yet. But yeah, it was an intense looking screen.
Mm-hmm.
She's the original Green Witch. And then it switches to
Back of the trial, and William asks Agatha. He's like, "Did you know?" And then she's like, "What can I say? I like bad boys." No,
I like the bad boys.
I always liked the bad boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
I like
interesting.
That. Yeah.
Because death is a cosmic entity. It's the opposite of eternity.
Mm-hmm.
So versus eternity gives life. Rio also has the ability to
give, but hers is different because she gives rebirth. She can't just give life like that. Someone has to die first, and then she can.
No. She takes people's lives
right
when they die. She's essentially the Grim Reaper of the MCU. Right. However, she can also give people their life back.
Correct, back, but she can't give life to start.
She can't create it like eternity.
Eternity can create life. Right, that's the word I was looking for. Eternity can create life. She can only give life back.
Yeah,
is what I was trying to say.
Right.
So then, Lilia tells everybody Rio is Lady Death, or after she's told everybody that.
So Lilia tells all of them, she's like, through the Iron Maiden. So they open.
After she flips and puts the death card down, the Iron Maiden opens up and they've completed the trial. And then Lilia's like, everybody through the Iron Maiden, and then she runs to the Iron Maiden, and then Agatha comes and she stops Agatha right before she leaves.
And she's like, when she calls you a coward, hit the deck.
So Lilia's basically giving everyone a last piece of advice.
Or the last piece of the puzzle that they need.
Yeah. And then Agatha's like, what? And then Agatha goes through the Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Or she exits the trial.
Yeah.
And then Billy comes.
Yeah. And then pops up the spell book. Mm-hmm. And he's like, how? And she's like, magic.
And magic, Magick.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about this. I think the reason it's spelled like that is because that was the original spelling for the word magic back during Salem times. And as we know, words sometimes change over time of their spelling.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, because I don't think they're talking about the character magic.
Yeah.
As been theorized before.
I like the theory that producer had, and she said that magic spelled like that is more geared towards witchcraft.
Mm-hmm. That's the way they spell it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I agree. I like that theory too,
mm-hmm.
but I mean, who the fuck knows?
Yeah. Well, hopefully we find out.
Yeah.
So then after Billy goes, so he goes, he just thanks her. He goes, thank you for everything, and then he goes. And then Jen comes.
Yeah. And she's like, you first or something
No, she goes, I'm not going before you.
Yeah.
And then she goes, what did she tell her?
She's like, you're the path ahead.
Yes. And then she goes in, and then Lilia starts to close the Iron Maiden, and then Jen is like, wait, what are you doing? She's like, what are you doing? And then she yells like, no, and then she closes the Iron Maiden on her.
Yeah. And then she goes, I love being a witch.
Oh, right, yes, correct. Right before she closes, she goes, I love being a witch, and she closes it. I'm like, that was fucking awesome.
That's really cute.
Yeah, I love that as like her being her last words. That was awesome. Or at least to the other witches anyway. So people spell magic as Magick to distinguish the spiritual practice from stage magic and the fictional magic of fantasy. So that makes sense. They're talking about actual magic, not sleight of hand magic or trickery magic.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool. Thank you, producer. That was awesome. So I'm glad we clarified that.
So then, as she's standing in the room, the Salem 7 start approaching. They all start getting in there.
In their animal form.
Yeah.
First we see the rat, then we see the fox, and then the crow, anyway, we start seeing them come in as their animal form.
Yeah, and she's like, the thing about completing a trial the way I just did, that usually if you overstay your welcome, something bad basically happens. And like they all kind of manifest out of their animal form. The last one is the leader of the Salem 7. She comes from the cicadas, and then she stands and turns around, and then she grabs the tower upright, and so she flips the tower upright, which is Billy's card. Flips it upright, and the entire room flips upside down.
Yeah,
and all 7 of them get impaled.
They just start flying up, or since it's turning upside down, they all start falling towards the swords. So the swords now is not on the ceiling, now it's the ground.
Right.
So then they fall and they all get impaled, but Lilia grabbed onto the table.
Yeah.
And so she's dangling from the table with one arm. And during this scene, I'm like, please don't let go. Please don't let go. Like, I'm hoping, and I'm like, please, hold on. And then sure enough, she gets too weak and she lets go, and then she falls, and then we now see where the episode started off in is her falling in that void, but now we now see what the void actually was the trial room. And I was telling you that when we were watching it, I'm like, if you look at Lilia's face while she's falling, she looks like her face just reads acceptance. Yeah, like she's accepted that this is her time and that this is where her story was always meant to end. Yeah, like she's accepted death. And it was fantastic. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, and the episode ends the way it started.
It ends there, but then this is very important.
Yes,
we were talking about this.
Yeah, and
we don't see Lilia get impaled. It cuts right before she would get impaled, and it cuts back to her as a teenager running to.
Not running. She just kind of walks up to her teacher.
Isn't she? She's like kind of walking at a fast pace, or at least like
I don't think so.
Skipping kind of.
I mean, she has that flowy dress.
Oh, so that's what she's doing. Flow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she's going to her teacher.
Yeah.
And she sits down, and then the teacher says, "Let us
starting all over again."
I thought she said,
"Let us begin." Yeah, that's right.
So we were thinking, Lilia doesn't die; she just goes back and starts her life over again as from a teenager, right? Is that what we were saying?
It could be a loop. I don't know.
Yeah, like that she just reverts back to that, and she's gonna live it from that point on again.
Yeah.
So maybe Lilia's life is a circle. Or you think she just went back to that memory of her past right before she died? That's just where she went. That was her happy place, kind of.
Yeah.
Do you think so?
That's. I can see that being more what they were trying to do.
Right.
But I would like for it to be.
I'm gonna go with just to make me happy that she went back to when she was 13. Yeah. Just because I just like that better. I don't like the fact. I don't want Lilia.
Well, given your new love and fondness for Patti LuPone,
yes.
Yeah, of course you don't want that.
Yeah.
But I just don't see a place for her in the future of the MCU.
Fair, and that's fair. And like I said, for the purposes of this episode and the story, it makes sense that was just her last thought of her starting her lessons at that age. And I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But yeah. I just like thinking about her and just not dying. I don't want to think about that.
Yeah,
about her actually
me neither. But hell of a fucking episode,
dude. Phenomenal. You were saying this is your favorite of the
my
season
favorite
so far.
episode.
I mean, we still have 2 more to go, so we'll see if that holds.
I mean, and the reveal of Billy.
Yeah.
The reveal of, who put the sigil. The reveal of, Rio being death. Like, dude, we've been given so much in this.
In the first 7 episodes, yeah. What I like is that we're getting all these answers to these questions, and they're not making us wait till the end to get them all answered in the finale,
right?
Like most shows do. Is we're getting slowly but surely we're getting questions answered, and I think they're doing that at a great pace. This show is had a phenomenal pace from the first episode till now. Yeah. It's keeping a really good pace, for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely running a marathon versus certain places are like they sprint hard in the beginning and then they fucking die off in the middle, and then they're
walking.
And then they try to like tie everything in at the end.
Yes.
And everything's been tied. Every episode just led to the next, just so fluent, so peaceful.
Yes.
I mean, and even though we saw death and literally we saw death, Lady Death, and then we've seen so much death.
Yeah.
You know, and the 7 are dead. Alice is dead. Mrs. Hart, Sharon Davis is dead, and possibly, you know, Lilia. I mean, it just.
Are you thinking it's gonna be another situation where like only Billy and Agatha make it out of the trial, just like how Agatha said she was the only one to survive the Witch's Road when she first went on it?
I think the 3 remaining witches last.
You think Jen, Billy, and Agatha? So you think Jen's getting her powers back then?
I think so.
Okay. I'm with it. I mean, it makes sense.
Because we have casualty. We've lost half the team.
Mm-hmm. Well, we were saying before that every witch that gets what they wanted from the road dies. Alice got her curse lifted.
I mean, that makes sense because there's supposed to be another Wiccan series of trying to find Tommy. So clearly he doesn't find Tommy, or he gets a clue to it maybe, but he doesn't really get Tommy.
Maybe figures out how to find Tommy.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, every single actor and actress on this show is absolutely killing it. I was telling you before, whoever's in charge of casting for this show, you need to have them on all the other projects for Marvel because they are killing it, 100%.
I mean,
you don't think so?
No. Yes, I agree. But I think now that I'm thinking about this cast, are they fantastic, phenomenal talent? Yes. But that's what I mean. They're all actors and they're all divas.
Okay.
And so are witches.
Yeah.
So they had a ocean full of A-list talent that they could have pulled from. And the
chemistry that all these actors are having together, it's hard to do. It's hard to get.
But I don't think if the screenplay wasn't written the way it was, you can't identify who needs to play this role.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just think all around, I think from all levels for this, Jack Schaefer seems to just have a really good grasp of knowing who needs to be who, you know, and her vision for all of it together.
Yeah.
Very similar to the Boda Mayo season 1 of, you know, X-Men.
Okay.
97,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Granted, Boda Mayo's not on the projects anymore, but they were still. They created a masterpiece.
And he did something that was definitely needed. Is he started the show off great? Like he started the show off right.
Yeah.
He definitely set the tone for the show and did it in a great way. And I feel like that's what the same thing is happening here in Agatha All Along. For sure.
And the reason why Wanda was written so well and turned out so well, not Wanda, WandaVision was Jack Schaefer. Again, she's I love her.
I'm a huge fan of Jack Schaefer now. Yeah, absolutely.
Put her on Midnight Suns.
Yeah, definitely. You have to, in some form or fashion, got to be part of that project. Yeah, for sure. But that's all I got. You got anything else?
I got nothing.
All right, guys. So stay tuned for that series season finale. Remember, both episode 8 and 9 drop at the same time next Wednesday, Halloween Eve. So we are definitely going to be on that. So stay tuned for that season finale episode. But Kike, no matter how many times we are on the Witch's Road, I am with you
till the end of the line.
Thanks.
If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Also, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all our new episodes and more.